Hello and good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for another race here in the Rev-it competition. Today, we've got grid number 2 lined up and ready to go to qualify and get themselves into the semi-finals. Now, the same rules apply as yesterday. We've got a total of 64 drivers registered in the competition. That's two drivers per team. And we've got 8 quarterfinal races lined up across this week. Now, four drivers from each race will go on to participate in the semi-finals a few weeks from now. Now, before we get straight into the action on screen that you can all see, for all of us new, all of the new viewers here, let me give you a quick introduction to Revit and its organizers. Revit is a virtual racing challenge by Formula Bharat in collaboration with IR Esports. This event does have racing, but it's also fundamentally a test of your engineering knowledge in setting up race cars, a typical recreation of the FS Dynamic events with one major difference. Today, we will be having a wheel to wheel racing just like yesterday. Everyone's just charging to get up in front, to get in that top four position, line themselves up, either get on the podium or at least bag fourth place so that they can go on to take part in semi-finals later on. Now, Formula Bharat is an Indian Formula student-style engineering design competition in which students from colleges and universities all over the country compete with life-size Formula-style vehicles in areas of engineering design, overall cost, marketability, and dynamic performance. The series replicates the global Formula Student series, hosted in around 11 different countries per year, and launched in 2017. Each year, the Formula Bharat competition hosts both combustion and electric vehicle categories. With a student community base of more than 8,000 engineering students, the platform hopes to promote practical hands-on engineering experiences. And this year, with everything going virtual, this is a great initiative by Formula Bharat to have Revit as well, being an engineering design competition, more like an engineering setup competition, all happening from the luxury of our homes. Now, this event is in collaboration with IR Esports. IR Esports are India's largest e-racing organizers. Now, IR Esports has created iconic properties in the racing esports space, such as Indian e-racing championship, the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship, Mumbai's fastest gamer, India's fastest gamer, the Indian Sim Racing League, and many more other competitions. They plan to curate and execute custom motorsport based campaigns via esports across various mediums in the future as well. So, on that note, let's dive straight into the action. We had a very interesting race take place yesterday with the Bulls racing team taking victory in the 20-minute sprint here at Monza. We're back at the Monza circuit this fine evening. The drivers are all basking under the hot Italian sun in their Lotus 9080s. We have got Firoz and Gaurav as our race directors today. They're bringing you all these camera angles and taking care of stewarding for the race. My name is Saidat, and I'd like to invite you to join us as we dive into race number 2. We're right now just over 11 minutes. We just have about 11 minutes left in qualifying. All the drivers are hopefully on the track right now, warming up their tires, trying to put banker laps on board. But this is the way the order stands. As it stands, everyone's just kind of getting their banker laps. You can see that already. So as we wait for more drivers to put their lap times on board, let's just go through the different drivers that will be representing their teams today. Firstly, we have BZR Bulls Racing, the winners from yesterday. Their second driver, Sudeep G, will be driving this in car number 118, who you see on screen right now. He is on his out lap, and you can see it's the same classic livery that they ran yesterday, the black and white Bulls Racing livery. Simple but straightforward. They be in business and they want to take victory once again. They will be a team to beat, and everyone's going to hope they can charge them, hunt them down before they take another runaway victory. But this is Sudeep currently on his out lap. The next team that we have today is the Blue Jay Racing Team. BJRT is the initial that we're using for Blue Jay today. The car is being driven by Adarsh Kumar in the number 44. Well, you must be a Lewis Hamilton fan. Let's hope you drive like Lewis Hamilton and charge and take that victory. You can see those flames shooting out of that cerulean blue looking car. That looks brilliant. That's definitely a car that's going to be standing out in the tarmac. It's definitely going to stand out, and anyone who can see them in their mirrors. Let's hope that's not the case for others. If he can pull away and get in front and pull away at the beginning of the race, he's the one who's going to have to look at others in their mirrors. But that's a fine looking livery for that car. He's also just put a banker lap, and this must be his flying lap that he started just now. The third team that we have on the grid is Formula Manipal, and the abbreviation, of course, is FM. The car is being driven by Arya Somrain in the number 101 Lotus 9080. Very nice red and white livery for this team. You can see their sponsors plastered on the livery. A good tribute to all the sponsors and everyone supporting these teams in their charge to take engineering to the next level. Another really nice looking livery, gives a very classic vibe, very classic effect, very similar to the Ferraris of Niki Lauda and all those other greats that drove these type of cars many years ago. A brilliant livery as well, one that people will definitely be looking out for when they see them on track. The next team we have lined up today is E Formula Ashwa Riders, which you can see on screen right now. EFAR, being driven by Aditya Vyas, who's still in the pits. But irrespective of whether they're in the pits or they're on track, look at that livery. It's a very bold, straightforward livery. I'm not quite sure what it says and in which language it's been printed. But I hope that's a good luck charm for them. They've got three suns on their car as well. Let's hope that solar power kind of powers their car. We know they're running on petrol, but nonetheless, brilliant looking livery. I think this is another one that stands out for sure. Simple, straightforward, and they will be looking to take a podium, if not at least P4 in this race to qualify for the next round. Our fifth team today is Citizens Racing CR, the car being driven by Ashwat M, who you can see on screen right now. He's running the number 210 numerical on his car. It's another red and white livery. This has a slightly lighter tone of red, almost orange to an extent. Again, a very nice car for sure. Quite simple in its approach, but still does stand out. Gives a very sharp effect towards the front. You can see Formula Bharat's logo out there in front, of course. Every team running the Formula Bharat logo along with IR Esports and all the other sponsors involved in this event. But this is another team you've got to look out for as the race progresses. The next team on the grid is IITK Motorsports, being driven by Shlok Bhagat in the number 403 car, which I hope we see on a screen right now. So this is the IITK livery. Very different from all the other ones we've seen till now. If you all remember, we did have a social media competition a few weeks ago, I believe, in the run up to this event where you all voted for the best liveries. You can see the results on Formula Bar's website. But this is definitely a really cool looking livery. You can see on track right now. You see there, I presume, is their university logo on the back on the engine cover. But definitely one livery that you can view from a mile away with all of those red streaks on the car. So these are all the cars which we have on the grid. I'm sorry, there is one more team. My apologies. So it's CRCE Formula Racing, being driven by Brendan Fernandez, the number 202 car. Oh wow, that's another really good-looking car. I've never seen this color on any car till now, I believe. So, very unique looking livery. Almost geometric if you look at the blue on the car. Effort by this team putting out some brilliant liveries during the competition. So these are all your starting cars, all the running cars. Unfortunately, we do have a DNS driver that's not starting, a team that's not starting, which is iOS Formula Student Electric, the all-female team. Let's hope they make their way on the grid so that we can complete the 8 drivers that will be taking part today. But as the okay, so about apologies for those technical glitches. I am back online, and as we jump back into qualifying about 5 minutes left right now, and it looks like the only team that's anywhere close to even meeting the time of the Bulls racing cars is BJRT, being driven by Adarsh. Right now, we ride on board with Ashwath as he makes his way through the track, just getting into Lesmo 1. He's already about 50 seconds into the lap, so I'm not too sure whether that's on pace or not. Either way, he has spun it on the exit of Lesmo 1, so he's going to have to go back to the pits and get back on track. So as we wait for more teams to put on their fast laps onwards, as I say that others has improved only by a small margin, but he's still a good way off pace. But as we wait for more teams to put their lap times on board, let me give you a little bit of information on some of these teams that are on the grid. So we do first have Bulls Racing way out in front. Now they have got some good results in hill climb up till now in Rev-it, and they're 6th and 18th position. So they have a 6th place finish in drag as of now. You can see all the other results of Rev-it, by the way, when you go onto Formula Bharat's website. You can find your way to the Rev-it results. You can see all these results and details. Obviously, we can't reveal who has the top three finishes, but or the order for the top three finishers, but everyone else is shown in those tables. So I do encourage all of you viewers to go and have a look at that. Who else do we have on the grid? Some of the write-ups that have been submitted to us. We have Formula Manipal, a very common name that we've seen here in Formula Bharat multiple times in the past. The most recent results, of course, being in 2019 securing first place in acceleration, finishing third overall at Formula Bharat. In 2020, Formula Manipal also came first in autocross event, the autocross event that was held at the Kari Motor Speedway. So definitely a team that's very, very good in making cars that perform well in endurance, in a dynamic events. Let's hope that same logic and those same skills translate into the virtual world as they try to make their way up. Right now, Formula Manipal is a long way away from pole position, more than a minute of pole position space. I'm quite sure Arya's just been sitting in the pits as of now. That must be his current flying lap. So let's hope he puts a much quicker lap time on board. That's a little bit about Formula Manipal. We'll go through some of the other teams as and when the race progresses. But we've just got around 2 minutes left in qualifying. Everyone's gonna want to really push and get themselves up there on the top end of that table. We saw pole position not necessarily having the best race start yesterday, but you definitely want to do that because that'll give you an advantage as you get into the first chicane, the Retifilio chicane in this track. Excellent camera view showing the speed of this vehicle as it approaches and enters Retifilio here as he gets back on power, gets down onto Curva Grande. This is technically the third corner, but it's easier to just call it the second part of this track. As he takes a nice tight line over there, goes wide, maintains the momentum, switches back to the right side, crosses the tunnel here, and then you want to break it around that 150-meter mark. Just gingerly take it through this corner once again, stay off those sausage curbs, use the curbs to your advantage, but not those big red sausage curbs because those can just pop the car up. As he makes his way into Lesmo 1, once again a very tight line. You can see really smooth inputs being given by this driver from his input device. Goes through Lesmo 2 as well, and now you get back onto the back straight. So this is what we'll be referring to as the back straight. It's popularly the main DRS straight for Formula 1. These Formula 1 cars, of course, being way before DRS was ever included into the sport. As he now goes into Ascari, takes the first corner very well. Takes a tight line in the second part of Ascari. You want to get a good exit over here. Okay, avoiding the inside curve, very unique line, but then he goes wide, maximizing his momentum. So that must be something to do with the way his car has been set up for this event. They probably don't have as much downforce as others, which could be one of the reasons why he's having to take that a little bit more carefully. As we now go down into the final corner, that is Parabolica. Gets a good exit over here, and then he sticks to the right side. Use the slipstream, use that wall to your advantage to gain a bit of aerodynamic benefit, and he crosses the line with a lap time 2.6 seconds faster than his best. I really don't think that was needed, but he nonetheless put that lap time to show utter dominance on this grid. He is charging away with pole position at the moment. It looks like the only driver who's anywhere close to challenge him is Adarsh, who's already 6 seconds off pace. We see Arya also on screen right now. Hopefully, he can get a much better lap time. He has improved from that 2 minute lap time, but it's still a good way off pole position. Currently securing P3 as the order stands. Others also trying to finish another lap, hopefully trying to charge hunt down Sudeep in P1. Who else is on the grid? There's EFAR Aditya, who's just 1/10 behind Brendan in the CFR car. So another little battle which we can look out for if this is the sort of pace we'll be seeing in the race. And then you've got Ashwath way down in sixth place with the 1 minute 58. Hopefully he's also putting a fast lap and trying to charge his way back up the field. But we're well into overtime right now in qualifying, 30 seconds into overtime. We just got to wait for everyone to finish their current flying laps and hope for the best at the end of this qualifying session. So you see Ashwath getting back on track. It's a little late for that, but you might want to get back into the pits because the qualifying time has run out. I suspect he's probably just trying to find the grip levels right now. Now that the track has been nicely rubbered and laid out, well, it hasn't been over there. Someone's just spun out into Parabolica, ruining their final lap. But it looks like Ashwath's probably just trying to scope out some grip, see what the conditions are like at the end of qualifying to better prepare himself for the race. But it looks like everybody's finished the qualifying runs right now. Anyone who is on track right now is probably just checking the grip levels on track. Once again, the season has not changed. In fact, we have the same track conditions as yesterday, and rightfully so, just to keep the competition level, keep everyone on the same playing field. But this is what the playing field looks like right now. This is the way the order stands in the Autodrome. BZR Bulls Racing Sudeep taking pole position by a mile of 6 seconds, almost 6.4 seconds. To second place driver BJR, others from BJRT with a lap time of 1 minute 39.5. Another 1.5 seconds behind him, another 2.5 seconds, by the way, behind him is the Manipal driver of Arya. Then you've got Aditya from EFAR, 1 minute 45. Ashwath after that, and that is our grid for today. So let's just wait and we'll get back once we are on the grid for the race. Okay, we are on the grid right now. All the drivers are lined up. Those who have right now put their lap times on board, you can see the colors on the grid, all ready to go, all set to charge and take a top four finish here to qualify into the semi-finals of the endurance event. Just about 20 seconds left on the clock. And as the race progresses, I'll tell you a little bit about the sort of setups that these cars have been equipped with. Of course, we're not revealing any details of the specific values of the setup, but there are certain characteristics that will explain why some of these cars are behaving the way they do as they go through these corners. Very technical circuit, Monza is. It's deceptively simple, but there are a lot of caveats in it. As of now, we have 6 lights on at the starting grid. We're going to go out any second right now. The lights are out. We're underway. We're under green flag conditions. It looks like the top two have gotten a really good start with P3 driver as well in the red car. Formula Manipal driver also getting a decent start over there, but he's losing ground right now because you see the rest of the pack charging their way through. It looks like Formula Manipal has lost one position, potentially two. He has cut the chicane. There is utter carnage as the BJRT, the Blue Racing driver, gets taken out by Arya, the Formula Manipal driver. It looks like there was a bit of a collision before that started. At the entrance to Rettifilio. It'll be interesting to talk to the drivers after the race to find out exactly what happened. But it looks like the Formula Manipal driver has pretty bad damage to the front wing, and it looks like the BJRT driver is also stopped on track. Either way, Brendan has gotten a good start. He's gotten into P3 right now, taking that nice violet and black car into the podium spot as it stands. Sudeep is pulling away. Bulls Racing have definitely found something special in this setup. They have tackled at least a major portion of Monza to have this sort of an advantage. He's miles ahead. Where is Aditya in all of this? He's just going through Lesmo 2 right now. He's getting back onto the back straight. At this point, I think Sudeep might have already finished Ascari by the looks of it. But What do we have here? We have Shlok from IITK as well, having issues going all over the place. That looks to be the exit of Lesmo 1, I believe. Brendan making his way through the Ascari chicane, and it's been a chaotic, a much more chaotic start for this race than we did have yesterday. Yesterday was relatively clean. Here we have all sorts of carnage going on in the midst. Ashwath making his way up, so he calculated his start perfectly, starting from the back. He's now found his way up to fourth place. If he can hold it there, he can get his car up into the semi-finals. But he's got Shlok hot on his heels right behind, and then others over there in the distance as well. So the race is still not over for a lot of these drivers. Unfortunately, it looks like Arya is probably in the pits, having got front wing damage at the start of the race. You see Shlok also getting overtaken again by the BJRT driver. So there must be some sort of damage to Shlok's car. Either that or he's flat spotted his tires by spinning off at Lesmo 1, or Lesmo 2 rather. Either way, he has lost a position, but only just. Others is just slowly starting to find his way back up. We know Others has the pace. We saw this happen yesterday as well with the P2 driver being dropped down into fourth place at the start. So it's very interesting to see how fast, much more fast cars from qualifying fight their way up the field. The cars who have inherited those positions will no doubt be defending their spots. But Aditya is comfortably in second place right now. It looks like those three sons. It looks like the slogan, their good luck charm on their car has helped, and he's been powering his way up. Not to discredit him in any way. He's definitely handled the car really well, pushing it up there. The good luck charm is just a little bit of a placebo to help everyone keep their moods up, I believe. In this circuit here, you see Brendan also making his way through Lesmo 2, going wide, in fact, on the exit of Lesmo 2. Not sure what happened there, but he had snagged a bit of oversteer. I saw that on screen. Sudeep is comfortably way out in front. He's going through Parabolica. That, mind you, is the last corner of the track. Everybody else is just finding their way, threading their way through Ascari, and he's all the way out front, just pulling away. Is this going to be another fast lap competition for the Bull? We have to wait and see, because this Bull is charging way out in front. So looking at the setup choices, something interesting to see is some of these teams have opted to run very aggressive camber values, while others have opted to not have them at all. And this is where things are going to start playing their effects. The ones with higher camber will no doubt start having more resistance, rolling resistance, all types of mechanical losses as they go down the straights. But they do have better potential in the corners. Teams that have opted to go with slightly more neutral camber values have obviously got a lot more straight line speed, but they'll have to take these corners a lot more carefully. As you see Brendan doing it comfortably well through that section. He's charging down Aditya, who's right there in his sights. You can see him over there, just about 100 meters in front. Let's see if he can hunt him down by this lap, because it seems like Aditya has really started slowing down. I'm not quite sure if he's conserving his tires or he's running into some sort of issues. Either way, he's lost a lot. A huge piece of time through that section, and there we go. We see the overtake. It seemed almost inevitable looking at the pace difference. It wasn't as clean as either driver would have liked, and there's more contact into Lesmo 2. I believe there has been a collision. Very unfortunate. It looks like Brendan was on the outside there, and then others were stuck on the inside. Unfortunately, we can't see the replay, but was hidden in behind that fence. But something happened. One of the drivers tried to make an overtaking maneuver, and everything was lost for I believe that was Brendan, who lost out big time in that tussle. Others also going wide. He almost lost big time. He almost went on vacation to the beach when he should be focusing on the race. Not sure if he's having understeer issues or whether he's worn out his tires. Either way, we'll need to just see. Let's try riding on board with others and see how fast he can hunt down Brendan. Comparing the qualifying paces, others should be able to catch him in about a lap's time, looking at the gap. Here we go. He seems to be all over the place. Very aggressive inputs to the wheel, but they're not exactly very fast inputs. So I suspect others might be using a controller. Now remember, these drivers are only allowed to use either controllers or the mouse, in fact, or the keyboard. They're not allowed to use steering wheels. Anyone who has a steering wheel will not be allowed to join the server. And this is purely to level out the playing field. Like I told before, we want everyone to be on the same playing field with the same equipment. This is not entirely Formula One, where you have to develop a car with more resources. This is more about your engineering skills and how you can actually set up your vehicle. and having a neutral playing field for the drivers definitely does help in neutralizing the entire grid. Others is struggling a bit. It seems like that gap has once again increased. So I suspect there might be some damage. What you all think in the comments? Let's hear all the hype for these drivers. I want all be supporting your teams. Let's get the spirit up in the comment section. Everyone comment and decide your winners for today. Let's have a little bit of an idea of who you think would be the driver of the day if we had a concept like that. No doubt PZR running out in front, but look at the sort of battles you're having later on in the grid. Looks like everyone's having a good time under the sun at Monza, and well, I don't think the right rear tire of Brendan had a very nice time over there through that section. You saw how quickly he jacked up. I suspect Brendan might be running some slightly softer fast bump damping values, which could be the cause for going up that quickly. Not necessarily the worst idea if you want some more stability on these curbs, but remember, the faster your suspension moves on such curbs, the quicker it's going to jack your car up. So you want to have multiple other factors involved, like your bump stops, your bump stop rates, the effective ride height you're running. No doubt all these drivers are running extremely low ride heights. We saw this especially in yesterday's race as well, with all the sparks flying at the entry to Ascari. You see more sparks over here. Actually, that's not a spark. That seems to be more of the afterburn from the turbo. Either way, we do see some sparks as well flying as we go over those curbs. Brandon making his way as well through Parabolica. Others just entering Parabolica at that spot at that point. Once again, trying to maximize his exit. And remember, Parabolica is a very tricky corner. You need to brake as late as you can to maximize the speed down that straight, of course. But then, of course, you need to start opening up your steering as soon as you can. The corner opens up, and this is where cars actually reach their highest speeds on a typical Formula One race in the Formula One calendar. And I'm quite sure that's what's happening here as well. I do believe teams that are running higher turbo boost values will no doubt be hitting those speeds a lot quicker and maybe being able to sustain that a lot longer. However, they do have to deal with the high amounts of torque coming out of their rear wheels as they get out on exit. So it's always a compromise. That's what setup work is all about. You want to compromise certain parts of the track for others. And if you're smart, you will be able to get your car up into the podium spot, which is what others has managed to do. I don't know what's happened to Brendan. He's suddenly stopped. Let's hope that's not a technical issue. It looks to be a technical issue. Has he lost connection? Has his controller lost connection to the computer? Well, either way, whatever it is, all that work that Brendan's done is slowly starting to wither away. As Ashwath, I believe that is Ashwath who's passed him as well. So others now dropped down to he's dropped down into P5 right now. Very, very unfortunate for Brendan. He's stuck there on the exit of the Della Roggia chicane. He can see Lesmo 1 over there, but there's no way for him to get there unless he powers that vehicle on. Is this a jackpot? Is this a major jackpot for all of the other cars way down, further down in the order? Is this their comeback? Is this what they've been waiting for? Shlok also making his way through, and I don't see Brendan on track anymore. So he's either managed to get his car going or he has teleported the pits. You know what? My apologies. Now that I notice it, I think they just cut the track because the same thing happened to Shlok you saw over there. Remember yesterday some drivers were cutting the course and having to slow down and serve their penalty, which by the way is automatically applied by the game. I think that's what both these drivers had to do. So Brendan actually hasn't lost P4. He still got that firmly in the bag, but he would have really wanted to be on the podium spot. Something to note is these drivers can actually continue driving without having to fully stop on the circuit. In fact, if you gingerly and very slowly go through some of the other slower corners, it actually does count as a penalty because I believe Assetto Corsa actually requires you to stay below a certain speed limit. It doesn't actually require you to come to a complete stop. So you might as well just continue in safety car pace. That's not what Shlok has done. He's still sat there. And this seems to be absurdly long at this point. I hope this is not a technical glitch. Honestly, I'm just going to have to wait and see, just like everybody else. Let me know what y'all think of the race up till now. I think it's been absolutely splendid. It's had everything up till now. It's had good overtakes. It's had a few unfortunate collisions, some penalties being served, a charging bull way out in front. So they're taking that car way out into P1 and Aditya hunting him down. Arya making his charge to the grid as well. So he had that unfortunate collision in the beginning of the race. Again, unfortunately, we can't see the replay. I don't know if you guys could if all you viewers could all scroll back on the video, you might be able to see exactly what happened. But we will have a word with some of these drivers at the end of the race as well. Good thing is we do have post-race interviews today. We're all set for that. It'll be great to hear the insights of these drivers. especially those who managed to find their way into top four contention, into the top four positions, just under 9 minutes of the race remaining. As Ashwan just decides to tap the wall over there, don't worry, the Aramco is all strong. Make sure your car doesn't take damage. You got to have some supreme amounts of control, especially through Lesmo. And big respect to these drivers for managing to take it through the Lesmo corners without spinning out. It's a mighty task doing it with the wheel, let alone with a controller or a keyboard. Now, we did see some of the teams have very smooth inputs in their steering yesterday, and some of you all might have suspected they are wheels. Don't worry about that. We don't have wheels in this competition. It's most likely a mouse input, which, believe it or not, is allowed in Assetto Corsa. You can actually use your mouse to give an analog input to your steering as well as your throttle and brakes. In fact, I think if you have two mice, that I say mice connected to the laptop or computer, you can use one hand for accelerating, one for braking. I mean, one for your longitudinal dynamics, one for lateral. But it's all entirely up to the driver. So some of the drivers having very smooth inputs are no doubt using a mouse. You need to have a lot of you have to have some mighty fine reflexes as well, apart from just your inputs. As you see a car just spinning out in Lesmo too, the leader seems to have gotten through quite easily. And now that I think of it, it looks like BJRT has caught up to the leader. So I don't know if Sudeep also had a penalty in all of this, but I could see, you can just see the BJRT, the Blue Jay, I'm so sorry, the Blue Jay Racing team following them. So yeah, a lot of ground has been made up between P1 and P2. Must have been a penalty for that gap to have closed so quickly in a matter of just a few laps. Um, but this is how the order stands right now, 7 minutes on the clock. I feel like this race has been going on a lot longer than yesterday with sort of action, all the things going on track. There's just so much to look at. Such beautiful liveries, just excellent competing going on from these drivers as they make their way across the line for another lap. Others is once again trying to hunt the leader down. And once again, I think it'll be interesting to see what Sudeep's perspective is like, having clean track ahead. Be a good chance to see the rest of the circuit as well. So Sudeep now flying down into Della Roggia, the second chicane sequence. Let's see how he takes this. Looks like everybody is comfortably avoiding those curbs. Very interesting to see, in fact, the way these open wheel cars are taking that. Because a GT3, for example, a closed wheel, more of a stock car build, a vehicle that has that sort of a build, will no doubt have to attack those curbs a little bit more aggressively. These cars can't afford to do that as powerful as the suspension is in terms of its dynamics. These cars do have quite fragile suspension systems, so you don't have the leeway of crashing them into any of the barriers. And once again, others has dropped big time. That gap has once again increased. So it's just basically a tug of war at this point. I believe it's just others trying to hunt him down. And there you have it. I think that's your answer to all of this confusion. Now that the gaps have come out, you can see how much of a gap there is between Sudeep and others. It looks almost as though he's probably lapped the rest of the field. Looking at the gaps, it is a little glitchy, so we're just gonna have to wait and see until they cross the line. But that certainly does look like a glitch. Let's do the math over here. Yep, it's about 90 seconds, right, a lap. So that's definitely Sudeep is definitely a lap ahead of others at this point. Utterly dominant charge by the Bull out in front, the Bulls Racing team. But others would no doubt want to at least secure second place, because Brendan is starting to hunt him down. The gap is at least half a circuit behind. But you've seen a lot of these drivers losing out time, especially when they cut these corners. So unless others keeps it clean, he can't rest just yet, because Brendan is there. He can catch him if he makes a mistake. Aditya, of course, being in P2 at one point in the race, has now dropped down into P4, and he's got that Formula Manipal car right behind him. Remember? No, no, he doesn't. My apologies. Who is that up in front? I don't think that's the Manipal car. The Manipal car is red, remember. Um, if we could just have a look at where Arya is right now, it'll be helpful to see exactly how far away P4 is from the drivers. Arya is just going through Lasmo 1 and trying to find his way past others who's no doubt lapped him at this point. It's letting him through. Doesn't look like that's a battle either of the drivers wants. But yeah, Arya's over here, and then Aditya's way out in front. He's probably already crossing the start finish line at this point. Yep, he's approaching the final corner. So yeah, it's a long way. It's about a sector between these two drivers. Arya had a pretty disastrous start in the beginning where he started charging his way back up the field. So let's see which team can bag that fourth place position. Is it going to be EFAR, E Formula Ashwar Riders, or is it going to be the Formula Manipal team? All of this is yet to be played out for, with just 3.5 minutes left in the race. It's anyone's race. It's anyone's race right now. It's definitely going to be a gamble. Who's going to push? Who's going to attack those curbs? Are we going to have Formula Manipal charging in the brilliant form that they've been doing till now, or is Ashwa Riders going to start? Are they going to start riding those curbs a little bit more aggressively and charging their way up into potentially P3? Let's wait and see. 3 minutes on the clock. Aditya already going through Curva Grande. It'll be good to see at this point. Well, we don't want to see a car spun on the track. That's not what we wanted to see. I was going to say we want to see the gaps to the cars to have an idea of how far away some of these drivers are with respect to each other. There we go. We've cycled through those tabs. The Arya's about 18 seconds behind Aditya, and Aditya's having to battle his way through. I believe that is Brendan, but you can see about a 90-second gap. So Brendan is no doubt a lap ahead of Aditya. It's surprising to see how some of these drivers have lapped each other with just about 20 minutes of a race. It looks like Brendan's just conserving, going easy. He knows he has the podium in the bag if he just keeps it clean. Aditya cannot relax, however. He's running away from a charging driver way back, 18 seconds behind him. That gap is right now only 16 seconds. I have a feeling Arya's clocking times faster than Aditya, so it'll be interesting to see how this battle pans out with just 2 minutes left on the clock. Avoiding those curbs. It'll be interesting to see, in fact, the sort of setup that Formula Manipal might be running in this midst. Unfortunately, I don't have access to that, but it looks like they might be running some pretty soft and low ride heights, because you want to avoid curbs if that's the case. If you have a low ride height with a soft spring setup, it's just going to bottom out way too quickly. Unless, of course, he can keep it from sliding out, which is what he managed to do in the final section. So there's a potential they are running a very stiff setup. It's quite difficult to say, in fact, unless they take a curb, it's quite difficult to say that. Maybe they are running some very stiff roll elements in their car, and that's what's knocking it out as you go a bit too fast through Parabolica. Either way, Arya cannot afford to relax. He knows what's on the line. He's charging his way through the field, and as he overtakes a car that's lapped him, that's Brendan in the wall. He's just tapped into P3, the P3 driver of Brendan. Is this terminal damage for Brendan? He's gonna have to start picking up the pace. He is a good at least a good half a lap ahead of Aditya. But what happened there? This is another collision that we saw with Arya. Certainly multiple drivers which you have to see and have to talk to at the end of this race. Arya is just charging his way through, and that gap, can you see that gap? It's actually dropped to about 13 to 14 seconds. Well, it was 13 to 14 seconds at a point, but it's back to 16. It looks like Aditya's maintaining a solid pace, and I don't think Arya will be able to hunt him down unless something happens to Aditya with, I believe, just one more lap of racing left. Sudeep has started the final lap with his Bulls racing car. He's right now charging into Retifilio for one last time as he starts the final lap of the race. 10 seconds on the clock. The race timer is going to run out before the final lap is completed. But Sudeep doesn't care about that. He's been enjoying himself out in front, basically consistently putting out fast laps and solidifying the deal that they are trying to be the most dominant team in this competition. They already had some pretty good results in the hill climb event, as you see online, and now they're just taking this quarterfinals by the horns of their own bull and just charging through the pack. Well, rather charging through the pack from the front. He's lapped almost everybody till now, and he's just comfortably out in front. They've definitely tackled the formula. The drivers have definitely gotten completely accustomed to Monza, and they have no doubt dominated this track in the past two races. Shlok finding his way through as well in that final chicane. See how he's jacked up his car. There must be some real stiff elements on the front end of that car. Not something you want, especially especially when you have curbs such as that in Monza. No doubt they've probably stiffened the front end of the car to get some more response in the turn in, but remember, that's just going to wash out the car mid corner and you're going to get understeer. Not something you want in a section like the Lesmos here. Tough luck for Arya as he's just trying to find his way up to. You know what? No, there's no tough luck right now because you can just see Arya in the back over there. I think that's going to be a really interesting battle. Aditya's going to have to hold it if he wants that P4 finish. Remember, there are two drivers from each team. One was the Bulls Racing driver from yesterday. Today, Sudeep has gone across to take victory here at Monza. Brendan spinning out, but still holding on to P3, having had a massive spin, in fact, in the previous lap. But Arya is right there. He can see Aditya right in front of him. Who is going to take P4? You can see it from Arya's perspective. Aditya is going to have to make this a perfect corner into Parabolica. Arya's got the better speed out on the exit. Who's it going to be? Arya's got that run down in the inside. Arya takes P4 on the last corner. Oh my God. Arya solidified his position in the P4, and Aditya has to settle for P5, but we're really not sure what's going to happen later on in the race. We have seen quite a few incidents. We're going to have to look at whether any post race penalties are applied. But as the order stands, Sudeep from Bulls Racing, others from Blue Jay Racing, Brendan from CFR, from CRCE Formula Racing, and Arya from Formula Malipal have all made their way into the semi-finals as the order stands. Aditya unfortunately missing out by a very narrow margin. That was smaller than the margin between qualifying. He finished about a second behind Arya by the looks of it. Ashwath having settled for P6 after starting from the back end of the grid. He had some good moments, but ultimately couldn't make it stick. However, a very good job by him. Shlok also struggling towards the end, but had a solid charge through the field in the entirety of this race. Oh man, this has been an exciting race. I think it's had a lot more action than yesterday. Yesterday was quite straightforward, but had some really clean driving. This race had almost everything for all the drivers from P2 onwards. P1 had an extremely clean race, but that is the way this race has ended. We've got all these drivers in the top four going on to semi-finals. Remember, every single team has a second driver as well, so all of these teams have a second chance to get into the finals. But in all of this, let us now try to dive straight into commentary. Yep, we'll have into the post interviews. My apologies. Let's just wait for the drivers to get their way into the interview room, and let's just see if anyone is interested in having a word with us. It's just giving a minute to to see if any of the drivers are interested in joining us today. But be great to hear from you all in the comments how you found today's race, and if any of you have an idea of what happened in those multiple instances in the race, it'll be great to hear your views on that in the discussion in those in that comment section. Meanwhile, let me just give it another 30 seconds to see if any of the other drivers are interested. If not, we will wrap up soon, but just give me 30 seconds and stay on hold. Okay, we've got Arya in the interview room. That was the P4 finisher from Formula Manipal, the man with all the action on track today. Arya, welcome to the interview room. First off, can you please run us through what happened in the race start, because we saw you have a pretty good start, and then we saw you cut right across Retifilio on the first chicane. Can you run us through what exactly happened there? Waiting for Arya to sort out his mic. Just give it a second. Okay, I was just waiting for Arya to sort out his mic issues. Meanwhile, we have Sudeep over here. Sudeep, can we do a quick mic check before we dive into the questions? Sudeep, floor is yours. Okay, unfortunately, it looks like um, we won't be having interviews again today due to some audio issues here on the server end. Let's hope we can get this all sorted out. We'll be having some good discussions with drivers tomorrow. Um, okay, let me just give it another minute. Looks like Sudeep is trying to speak. Sudeep, could you just give a quick mic check, please?
Mic check.
Awesome, awesome, Sudeep. We can hear you finally. Okay, first of all, he's left the commentary booth. Okay, interesting. I hope this is at least entertaining for y'all. Before we dive in with Sudeep, let's just talk to Arya, who I believe has unmuted his mic right now. Arya, can you
Yes,
give
yes,
a
yes.
quick mic check? Awesome, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
hello.
can hear you,
Am I
Arya.
here
Yeah,
audible? Yeah, yeah,
perfect,
yeah.
perfect. So let's just jump straight into the question. Arya, we saw a lot of action in the first turn. Could you please run us through what exactly happened? We saw you cut right across the grass into the first chicane.
Yeah. I started off, and then I don't know. I got passed by one guy, and I braked properly, but then I got hit from behind completely. So I didn't actually like accelerate through the chicane. I actually got like hit off completely through the chicane, and my front axles, both of them were broken. So I had to pit because there was no way I could continue racing like that because my steering was completely off. Then I had to take the penalty, and after the penalty, I again joined the track. And then I was about to pass somebody, but I overtook him. But then he hit me again from behind, so my axle broke again. So I had to go to the pits again. And then I believe I was like 2 laps down on everyone. So
Yep.
yeah, from there I had to start the race again.
Honestly, that was really unfortunate in the beginning. I saw the wing damage as well, as did all the other viewers with us today. But nonetheless, great charge back from the tail end of the field after that collision to take P4. Congratulations, and we hope to see you in the semi-finals. Hopefully, let's just wait for the final standings to come out soon. But thank you so much for joining us, Arya. We'll have the next driver in the interview room now.
Yes, thank you very much.
Brilliant. We have Sudeep G, the race winner for today, the one who had an absolutely, utterly dominant performance, lapping everybody on the grid. Sudeep, welcome to the commentary room. First of all, congratulations. How did it feel running the race all the way from the front?
Thank you. It felt good to lead the race and also win the race.
Yep, definitely a great charge, especially your qualifying as well. Had a good run in the beginning. So it looks like you and your co-driver from Bulls as well yesterday have both managed to get your way into the semi-finals. Congratulations, big shout out for that, and looking forward to see you in the semi-finals. Take care and congratulations.
Thank you.
The next driver lined up for the interview is we have P2 Adarsh. If we can get him in the interview room. There we go. Welcome, Adarsh. You've gotten P2 in today's race. How does it feel to make your way into the semifinals? Before we get into that, can you run us through how your race start was from the beginning?
Yeah, so I started second. I mean, I was given grade two. Then on the first turn, it was an unfortunate incident. I mean, Formula Manipal guy, I think Arya crashed into me. That's a racing incident. Nothing can be done about that. So yeah, the race went on. I went back to the pit. I was sixth, I think, and then I started overtaking and came all the way up to second.
Yeah, it was amazing to see that blue car of yours just charging its way through the field with you behind the wheel. Once again, congratulations on getting into the podium spot, and look forward to seeing you in the semifinals. Just one last question: we saw a bit of a spin at the end. I believe that was you. You had did you have a small spin on the final lap?
On the final lap, no, I don't think so.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just got confused. Anyhow, great job. We saw you almost take P1 over there. So, brilliant charge through the field towards the latter half of the race. And, brilliant job. We will catch up with you hopefully in the semi-finals. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
The final driver for today, we have P3, the final driver to wrap up in the podium spot. And I think this is the driver which we saw spin towards the end. It's Brendan Fernandez in his CRCE Formula Racing team car. If you can get Brendan in the interview room, we'll wrap up the interviews at the end of that. Welcome, Brendan. Congratulations on P3. We've seen you all over the grid today. Can you run us through everything that happened from the beginning of the race till the very end? We also saw an unfortunate spin then. So you could run us through all those incidents. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So qualifying started off well, but I set my, you could say, a base lap, and I didn't get to really improve over that. I lost control many times, and yeah, mainly didn't get good grip on the track.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
if we
We
move
saw.
on,
Yeah.
if we move on to the race, then the race starting was really good for me, but then my braking zone wasn't quite right, so I went off track. And then obviously there were a couple of unfortunate crashes during the race, but overall it was a good race.
Yep, yeah, it was brilliant to watch. We saw. I think you're stationary on track for quite a while. Was that to serve your penalty? We saw it after the second chicane, I believe.
Yeah, so that was my second penalty. That was when
Mhm.
I went off track, so I had to serve 20 seconds stationary.
Yep. Well, at the end of the day, at least you've made your way to the podium, and that's what really matters. Congratulations on getting to the podium and also making your way into the semifinals. On that note, viewers, thank you so much for joining us today for race number 2. The races just keep getting better and better. We've had 4 drivers qualify yesterday, 4 more to have qualified in the semifinals today, and we have more streams coming up over the next week. We have another stream tomorrow. On that note, thank you all so much for joining and giving your time and enjoying and supporting these drivers. This is Saidat Ramesh signing off on behalf of IR Esports, Formula Bharat, and everybody else involved in the Rev-it Endurance quarterfinals. We will be catching up with you tomorrow. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching.